United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has eulogized the extraordinary character exhibited by former South African President Nelson Mandela to make the world better. He stated this to commemorate the 2024 Nelson Mandela International Day. Mr. Guterres expressed concerns how the world is divided and poverty ravaging many countries, but hopes leaders can decide to do things differently. Well, let's now speak to our correspondent in Abuja, Moyo Thomas, for more on this. Moyo, Nelson Mandela gone, but definitely not forgotten. Talk to us about the significance of the Nelson Mandela International Day.
Okay, so the Nelson Mandela International Day is actually to celebrate the values that Nelson Mandela stands for. We know he stands for equity, eradicating poverty, justice, forgiveness, all the value he stands for. So every year there are different things that comes up and each country adopts whatever area or area they want to focus on. This year, Nigeria particularly is focusing on improved welfare of incarcerated persons, that is the inmates in our correctional centers. And so while the UNODC held a commemoration service today at the UN House, the invited guests all spoke on the importance of actually considering the welfare of people in the prisons in Nigeria, from the current cost of living that is pegged at about 750 naira for them for a 3-square meal that is not enough to feed them, and the proposal on the need to increase and decongest the correctional services through quick justice systems for them.
So, all right, and going forward now, how do we hope to leverage all of these lessons we've learned from the life of Madiba himself, to improve? What have you gathered about efforts to entrench this in our system?
So one of the important things is that there are milestones that are actually achievable that are set on each of this day. So from what has happened today, we hope to see a better correctional service for Nigeria and for each country that has different activities. Particularly all over the world, the UN Secretary General is charging everyone to ensure they do 67 services, do something for your community, for your state, for your country, whatever you can do to represent 67 representing each day or each minute that Nelson Mandela was in prison for. So if people can come around, use this day to do things that are measurable for their community on the larger scale, then we can imagine the level of difference we will see in our communities.
Indeed, and I can imagine that there were glowing tributes for Madiba at that gathering. You want to share some with us? Just about 30 seconds?
Definitely.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Moyo Thomas, for telling us, more about this Nelson Mandela International Day. Thanks a lot. Well, that's it on World Now.